I'm going to talk about autism, pervasive developmental disorders, some information like that. If you have questions as I go along, feel free to stop me. You can interrupt in the middle. Otherwise, I'll just go straight through. I'm the world's worst at keeping up and respond. That's probably one of the most important things I can tell you as being folks who are going to be working out there with my folks is give them time to answer the question, ask one at a time. Because a lot of the folks we work with don't process information quickly. And it comes across as non-compliant, or they don't care, or they don't know. If I say, Tommy, tie your shoe. Now I need to wait a second. Tommy, you're not even moving, tie your shoe. The problem with that is Tommy, I have to say Tommy, I catch his attention, so now he's starting to listen to me. I've already said tie your shoe, he missed the whole thing. And what happens a lot of times, we don't say that, we're walking by and tell hey, pick that up. If they have autism, they miss that whole dialogue. That's why usually with folks on the autism spectrum, just universally, just because it doesn't hurt, and if nothing else, you kind of identify, they connect to you better. I usually use their name and then say whatever it is I'm going to tell them. So I say, Tommy, I wait till that head turns. Can you tie your shoe? Now he can do it. In your profession, you say, when's the last time you saw the doctor? Pause. 1, 2, 3. However long. Give them enough time to make sure they process. Some of the guys, if they can answer it pretty quick, they will, and you won't have to worry about it. But if not, if they're not answering right away, give them an extra heartbeat or two to try to get that information to you. Avoid rapid firing of questions. Depending on where you work, and I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about medical facilities other than the appointments I've been in with doctors, whether it's my kids or with my patients. If you ask the same question over and over, I understand, and I've had nurses tell me, well, we've got appointments all day long, back to back to back. Well, and while that's understandable, different reasons people double book, and I don't know if they even go into that stuff in school, but there's reasons that happens, but it's not helping your patient or you if you're like, can you do it, da-da-da-da-da, and you shoot through it, and they're not giving you good information, you're just running through the things you have to ask, and they're spitting out answers so you can fill out a form or fill out whatever. It's not helping anybody. So try not to do that, especially with people on the spectrum. I'd say probably not with anyone, but especially people on the spectrum. If possible, ask narrative questions. If you ask me something I can say yes or no, then I'm going to say yes or no, and that may or may not be true. I'm just giving you an answer to answer the question. So that can be very unreliable. So if you can, it takes a little longer, but it's more accurate if you ask them a question so they give you more information. Are you feeling sick today? That's yes or no. How are you feeling today? That's not yes or no anymore. You might say fine, they might say fine or whatever, not whatever. Say, can you tell me more about that? You can always follow up. But if it's a yes or no answer, that's really good. You need immediate input. Are you dying? Are you choking? There's stuff that we need like know fast. I don't have time to play around. But a lot of times for what you're doing, you have the time, you have a little more time, and to get better information, you need to ask it that way. Avoid leading questions. For what you guys, I did a training with the police department. I kind of stole that one. What did you do instead? Did you steal it? You don't have to, because the problem with a lot of people on the spectrum is if you say something that leads them to believe you're looking for a certain answer, at least a percentage of our guys will give you the answer they think you want. Has nothing to do with the truth. Because going back to what I said earlier, some of the guys that I work with would rather you like them than them be right or wrong. So a lot of them are people pleasers. They want to say something that they think you want to hear. So we want to be careful on leading them where they'll give answers that isn't good information for you. Don't use idioms. We do that all the time. And in fact, what I call it, a lot of times where I work, we use acronyms a lot. We're always saying, well, we have an HCS PDP, talking about the SSLC, and we'll have to fill out an IPC. That all means a lot to me, and may mean zero to any of you unless you have a child in the Helen Farabee Intellectual Disability Program. So what happens a lot of times we get into that, even he was talking earlier, and it took me a moment when he talked about the thing called the MCLECT, something like that, the test you're about to take. I already forgot it, but at first I thought, I don't know that. I said, well, that's got to be some kind of aptitude or get out of school thing. But it took me a moment to click what the heck he was talking about, because I'm not familiar with that term. Well, what happens is for all of you guys just went along, you knew exactly what it was. Keep that in mind with your patients when you're seeing people that they don't always know the terminology, especially if it's someone on the spectrum. Someone who doesn't understand it might speak up. People on the spectrum are probably just going to shut up because they don't want to look stupid and won't understand what you're talking about. Ask them how they communicate. If they use adaptive equipment, then work with people to utilize whenever possible. Depending on the setting you work in, that may not be applicable. But if they have adaptive equipment, we want to encourage them to use it. There are a lot of communication devices out there. And I've got clients who have them, but I have one that sits in a closet all the time. Well, that's useless. It's not doing any good. They don't want to use it. Why? Because they're not good at it. They don't want to look stupid. But if they get the hang of it, I'll give an example, and not many of you guys may be basketball fans, but even if you're not, you've probably heard of Michael Jordan. And me and one of the caseworkers I was talking to, we're talking with a guy that was in the room with us, and as this is a huge error on my part, so the story makes me look bad, but we're talking as if he wasn't even in the room. Not because we're trying to be mean, it's just because we're talking. And we're talking about, this is a while back, so we're talking about the Chicago Bulls and basketball. And I said, well, yeah, they'd have done better if Michael Jordan had scored all these points. They said, no, they're guarding him, blah, blah, blah. So this guy, we're talking about this stuff, this guy goes home, and he has a little paper keyboard that he can punch on and spell things out to his mom. He won't do it for anybody else, but he does it for his mom. So he went home, and Mom kind of wrote out for him, shit, Frank and Scott were talking about basketball, but they were both wrong. They should give it to Steve Kerr because he shoots 88% at the three-point line. And they don't want to. And if you'd asked me, I'd tell you this kid didn't even know what a basketball was. And I do this for a living. I know better, or I should. So I give that as an example that a lot of times our guys have information. We just have to figure out how do we pull it out of them. And like I said, I fail at it sometime, and I'm supposed to know better. We're all going to have our moments. But we need to at least try.